Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Night Sky this week. I'm your host, Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy. So happy you could join me today. I'm here every Monday sharing all the goodness that the night sky has to offer for all of us, no matter where we are around the world. There's always something to see in the night sky. Chat room's open. I love seeing the comments, seeing where everyone is joining me today, Monday, November 29th, 2021. Talking to you live from Montreal, Canada. It is cold, very wintry outside. We've had our first snow here in Montreal, and everything is covered with snow. I'm looking outside. It's a winter wonderland here in Montreal already, looking very much like holiday time period is getting close. I can't believe it. We're almost in December. And, you know, there's a lot of things that'll be happening in December. I want you to stay tuned because I will be releasing my monthly little video on Facebook and YouTube regarding what you should be posting on your calendar, marking on your calendar the different things that you can see throughout the month of December. And there's a lot of different cool things that you should watch for. But of course, we're here for this week, and I'm going to turn it over to the planetarium program. And here we are. We are looking at the sky for November 29th after sunset. And of course, our favorite planets are all lined up. We've got Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter in a beautiful lineup just after sunset. You can't miss these guys. Venus is the brightest of the trio by far, and then Jupiter on the also second brightest, and then the faintest is Saturn. If you've got a telescope, bring it out and make sure you take a look at these planets. They're very different through a telescope, I must say. If you look at Venus through a telescope, for instance, we can kind of mimic that here in the planetarium program to what you would see. And let me just keep zooming in. That's basically what I'm doing here. Zooming. And this is the view that you would get through a telescope. Look, it looks like a crescent moon, doesn't it? And of course, this all has to do with the lineup of Earth, the Sun, and Venus as we are in the solar system. And you can see that right now, this is what you would see through high magnification, through even the smallest of telescopes will show you. So if you use an eyepiece that gives you the most magnification, check Venus out. It really does look amazing through a small telescope. It's not a round planet right now. From our vantage point, it looks like a crescent moon as the sun shines on the planet at this very steep angle from our vantage point. If I zoom back out, You can see Saturn as well. There is Saturn. Through a telescope, you betcha you'll be able to see those beautiful rings. Those are, of course, the trademark of this planet, what makes it so special. And I like to call it the wow planet, because when I show people during star parties through a telescope their first time views of Saturn, they see those magical rings. And, you know, it really does look like that, just like in the photos. You can actually see them very, very bright. And then, of course, we have Jupiter. And if you have a pair of binoculars, then you can see the moons of Jupiter if you hold them very steady. And of course, with a telescope, you begin to reveal some atmospheric detail. Remember, Jupiter is a gas giant world. Over 1,300 Earth-sized worlds could fit inside this globe, the largest planet. And you can see here some of the moons as well that would appear. The 4 Galilean moons, of course, are really what makes it so special through even binoculars, that you can see them as pinpoints of light. Now, of course, going back to Venus, as I showed you, it's a crescent, and I wanted to show you why that looks like a crescent. If we kind of magically go out and see what the solar system looks like from a vantage point that we don't get here on Earth, obviously, we zoom out, and here we are. We're going to zoom out of Venus. And we're going to go above the plane of the solar system. I'm just going to zoom out some more. And then there, go above the plane of the solar system. And I want you to see where Earth, Venus, and the Sun are in comparison to each other. And look at that. What you'll see is, of course, the Earth over here. You can see that blue circle right there. There's Venus, and there's the Sun. Well, look at the vantage point here. So imagine you're seeing the Sun, Venus, right, at sunset. This is why it looks so close, right? This is why it looks so close, is because Venus to the Sun, because it is from our vantage point, it just is very close. But of course, they're separated by millions of kilometers from each other. But from our vantage point, it does look like that. And if you think of how the sunlight hits Venus, and as it appears from our end, that's why it looks like a crescent, because only a slight sliver of the disk of Venus is illuminated by the sun right now as we are speaking. And of course, if we look at where Jupiter and Saturn are in the outer solar system, you can see them pop up at the top here, Jupiter and Saturn. There you go. You can see that from our vantage point, again, Jupiter and Saturn appear close to the sun, right? Right after sunset is when you see those three, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. And look, this is where the Earth is, this is where the sun is, and there's Jupiter and Saturn. So I'm showing you this just to give you a perspective of why they appear in the sky so close, bunched up together near the sun. And this is why. This is where they are physically in space right now. These planets, and that's why they appear the way they do from our vantage point right here on Earth. This is why we see these planets the way we do. Let me see if I can get it. There is. Let me see here. Zoom out a little bit. There, you can see all the planets, Jupiter and Saturn, right there. And zooming in a little bit right there, you can see, if I just go down into the plane of the solar system, you see there's Jupiter, and Saturn is really close, appears close to the sun, right? So this is why we see these 3 planets near the sunset right now. There you go. That's how they appear. And that line, you see they're kind of in a line, a diagonal line in the sky. Well, that is because they're inside the plane of the solar system. We are, from our vantage point here on our planet, we're looking at this trio from within the plane of the solar system. We're embedded there. And that plane, you can see it would be along this line. And that's what they're traveling. This highway of the planets we call the ecliptic goes along the same imaginary line across the sky. That's why you don't see planets in the northern in the northern part of the sky. You see them traveling from east to west through the southern part of the sky. That is why we see them in their pathway. So that's what's up later on tonight. This is Monday. And I'm gonna just get the stars a little bit darker, a little bit later in the evening, go down to about 4.5 magnitude is what you can see in a typical light polluted suburb of a large city. This is the kind of view, and what you'll see is, of course, lots of different constellations. Let me just turn on more constellations, and you can see Jupiter is in the constellation of Aquarius. Then you have Pegasus, the flying horse. The front end of the horse, it looks upside down right now in our skies. There it is in the southwest skies. It's a typical fall constellation. It's starting to sink in the late evening this time of the year in the northern hemisphere. And the moon is out of the way, out of the sky, folks, this week. So it's a great time to look for deep sky treasures. Deep sky treasures, again, are objects that are beyond the solar system. So some of the more amazing ones that are easy to see, that are climbing up the sky in the late evenings, is Taurus and some of its beautiful star clusters and other deep sky treasures. So if I just let it go a little bit later, this is now around 7:30, 8 o'clock local time PM. You will see rising in the east Taurus. Now, the big identifying point in the Taurus constellation that you should be looking for is this orange star called Aldebaran, which marks the eye of Taurus the bull. It's very brilliant. It's a brilliant star. Aldebaran is 66.6 light years away. And it is a red giant star. It's a star that's dying. It's inflated itself in its late stage of life and will explode at one point and let it create what's called a planetary nebula and a white dwarf at the center, which is the core, white hot core remnant of the star. But we can see Aldebaran 66.6 light years away. Imagine that. That's how long, 66 years it takes light to reach us here on Earth. And what's very neat is what's called the Hyades cluster. The Hyades cluster is this V shape of stars. If you look closely, I'm going to turn off some of these names so that you get to see what I'm talking about. Here you can see, I'm going to mark this out here. You can see there's one right there, right? There's another one here and here and here. See this? This whole thing here is a V-shaped. That's the face of the bull, made up of these stars. And it's actually they're all part, except for Aldebaran, these other major stars are part of what's called the Hyades star cluster. It's the average distance of these stars, now we're excluding Aldebaran. The average distance is 150 light years. This is one of the closest star clusters to the Earth. And a star cluster is really a collection of stars that were born together, basically, in the same time period. And here's a beautiful picture I'm going to share with you of that. You can see Aldebaran shining very brilliantly down here, and some of the other stars that make up the cluster you can see here in this photograph taken through a telephoto lens. And so the average distance is about 150 light years for all of these stars, and they mark the face of the bull. And it's a beautiful sight. If you have binoculars, it makes a great sight. You could see it with the naked eye if you look carefully enough and your eyes get adapted to the darkness. Now, other sites within Taurus worth looking at is, of course, the very famous Pleiades star cluster, which is embedded in the kind of the chest area of the bull. And the Pleiades, or also known as the Seven Sisters, are a great target for binoculars and small telescopes as well. You can see it with the naked eye. And my question to you is, how many stars can you actually make out in this cluster? It's can be a bit challenging, actually, to see some of the individual stars, but you should be able to see about 6 or 7 stars. Some people say it looks a lot like a tiny miniature version of the Big Dipper, in a sense. You can see them here. It really is a beautiful cluster, and photographs show that there's some nebulosity left over. Now, this cluster is over 300 light years away, about twice the distance as the Hyades cluster. And it's amazing. You can see these young stars. I mean, they're, under 100 million years old, and we think that they are clustered together because they were born out of the same gas cloud and millions of years ago, and they're slowly drifting away. So if we would be able to magically go into the future, distant future, tens of millions of years from now, these stars will sort of wander away from each other. But right now we get to see them all huddled together like this, and they make quite a nice sight through binoculars and a low power eyepiece, very low power eyepiece through a telescope. It's a great sight, and now is the best time of the year to see it. Late fall or late spring for those of you in the southern hemisphere. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, it's autumn. It's a very traditional autumn stargazing target is what the Pleiades star cluster is. So I invite you to see those two things. And there's more stuff. I'll come back to that next week to see in this region of the sky. Lots of really cool things. But I also finally wanted to just make sure I turn to the morning skies. For those of you that do get up early, the moon, that's where you'll see the moon really shining. It's in the morning. So this is sunrise that I've got it set to on Tuesday. Let me just set it to Tuesday here. This was set to Monday. There we go. And I'm going to just put it an hour before sunrise. So you'll see here where the moon is. Right there. It's embedded in the constellation Virgo, the Maiden. And what's particularly neat is Tuesday. This is Tuesday morning, the 30th. And let me see if I can show you Wednesday. See, Tuesday, Wednesday, the moon is basically shifting positions from the right to the left of the star, which is called Alpha, is the Alpha star, but is commonly known, let me give you the common name, is Spica. Right there. You can see, I'll turn that on. So Spica and the moon, it's going to form a beautiful pairing Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. I would say about a half hour to an hour before your local sunrise, looking towards the southeast, you'll see that beautiful crescent moon, and next door to it is Spica. Spica is this brilliant blue gem-like star, and what's really cool about this star particularly is that it's 250 light years away. So think about that. You're looking 250 years back in time when you're seeing that star next to the moon. So easy to find, thanks to the moon pointing the way, and you're looking towards that star is the lead star of the constellation Virgo, the Maiden. It's a zodiacal constellation. Maybe that's your horoscope sign, Virgo. Well, this is that constellation. This is where it is right now. This time of the year is where you'll find it. And if you look very carefully, you'll see another bright orange colored star, Arcturus, in the constellation Bootes, the herdsman. And that's the lead star, Arcturus. It's only 36 light years away from us. So you've got these two brilliant stars. They're almost the same brightness, actually, visually, if you look at them, but there's a vast difference in the distance between these two stars. So while Spica is 250 light years away, Arcturus is only 36 light years away, yet they are the same brightness. So what does that tell us about Spica? Well, it tells us that it's a very powerful star. If it can compete in brightness with Arcturus, which is much closer to us here on Earth, that means Spica is indeed a monster star, and it is. It's a much larger star, more powerful star than Arcturus. And so understanding a little bit about the distances in it, you start to appreciate a little bit more what those twinkling lights are in the sky. So if we go back to the moon and see what happens at sunrise, there we go, we'll have it at sunrise, you'll notice that this is Wednesday, and look, right below it is Mars, our friend, neighboring planet Mars, where of course we have our rovers there exploring, and you see so much news about Mars. Well, where is it in the sky? Right now it's in the early morning. You got to wake up early. About a half hour before your local sunrise is the best time to spot Mars. And if you're having trouble finding it, well, it's because it's just emerging from the sunlight. It was behind the sun from our vantage point. And in fact, for a couple of weeks, the Mars rovers and all the satellites orbiting Mars were out of communication. There was a communication blackout between our two planets because the planet itself, Mars, was behind the sun from our vantage point. So now it's emerging, is moving away from the sun from our vantage point, and it looks like it's moving farther and farther away from the sun every day. And so this week, you can find it very close in the glow of the coming sunrise. But what will help you find it is the crescent moon. So watch the crescent moon. As you can see right here, I'll mark it right here. There's your crescent moon. And watch what will happen. This is set for Wednesday, but look for Thursday. It's right above the moon. So Thursday, December 2nd, mark that on your calendar, is a great time to finding Mars thanks to its pairing with the crescent moon. This is really, really cool, this one. And of course, then the moon will be even lower in the sky. Let me see if I can get it like before. And by Friday, it looks like it'll be even harder to see. I would not wait until Friday. So from what I'm seeing, I would say Thursday morning, about a half hour to an hour before your sunrise, get out there and you'll look for that thin crescent moon. Bring your binoculars. They'll help you sweep that area near the sunrise where the sun will rise. You can see that glow, as you can see in this animation. And there you will find little planet Mars. It'll appear kind of orangish, like an orange dot, a faint dot. And if you use binoculars, it'll help you spot it, definitely. Use the crescent moon as a guidepost. And of course, this will be a great photo op too. See if you can take a photograph with your smartphone. Something neat to be able to see. And of course, while you're out there, you'll notice some bright stars as well. And if I just zoom out, you'll be able to see to the upper right, or if you're in the northern hemisphere, is reversed in the southern hemisphere. But basically, upwards from the moon Mars pairing, you'll see Spica, that bright star that the moon was near on Tuesday and Wednesday, right, this week. It's kind of left alone by itself there. And then Arcturus is way up there as well. And then even if I zoom out even wider, you'll see other stars around the sky. Towards the southwest, you'll have Regulus, Procyon of the little dog, Canis Minor. Pollux will pop up first before one of the Gemini twins as well. So there's a lot of stars that you'll see even in the morning skies. If you just go out at that critical time, about an hour before your local sunrise, you position yourself with a good view towards the east southeastern sky, and you'll see these amazing sights. So there's a whole bunch of stuff this week, guys. It's a jam-packed. I find stuff every week for you guys to see. I kind of look through all the different dates. I look through all the different targets, and I try to find things that are easy to spot. Things that, we're in the city, most of us. We don't have the benefits of super dark skies, but that doesn't mean you can't go out and stargaze and really learn about not just the night sky, but the universe around us. It's really incredible. It puts things into perspective. It brings inner peace, I think, tranquility to yourself. And it's a kind of a neat kind of mindfulness moment that you can have by looking at the night sky. So I hope you have some fun. I hope you get some clear skies this week. Just, have that ability to spend at least 15 minutes to a half hour in some dark skies. Make sure you turn down those porch lights. Let your eyes adapt to the darkness. The moon is out of the evening sky, so if you're a night owl, this is a great week to learn about constellations. Find that Taurus the Bull and look for those star clusters this week, because those will be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining me and spending a few precious moments out of your day. I really do appreciate it. And if you'd like to like this video and as I come out every month with new overview videos that you'll see on YouTube and Facebook. Don't forget, I'll have my December skies coming out. You'll like those, and you'll like my weekly broadcast that I do on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube. Please show your support by subscribing to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification button so you don't miss out on my next video. It's every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1800 Universal Time. And it's for everyone around the world, wherever you're watching. We're together. We're stargazing together. And I'm teaching you a few little tidbits that'll help you along your way as you explore our universe. So thanks again for spending a few moments of your time. And I wish all of you guys, of course, I wish you clear skies. Bye-bye.